Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Katie Bertrand with So Cute by Katie, and today we are going to be making a fun little, you can call it a mug rug or a coaster, and it's super simple, really fun, and a great scrap buster. So I am using scraps from all the masks I've had. So I have a huge bag, I think I've showed you in some other videos, literally of all the end pieces or things that I was not able to use to make a full mask. So I've just been saving them. I've making quilt squares right now and just kind of setting them aside. We did a dish mat. So now we're going to use these same scraps for making a little mug rug coaster. So this is scraps that I had with all the UK fabric since I'm in Kentucky. So I wanted to show you. So what you're going to need is 5 or 6 pieces of material. It can be all the same, but I think it's more fun to mix it up. They can coordinate, they can be mix match, it doesn't matter. So what you want to do is you want to have a 5 by 5 square, okay? You also want to have quilt batting. I'm actually using polar fleece because I have a lot of projects or blankets that I've made and I've got a lot of scraps. So use what you have on hand. So either quilt batting or polar fleece is fine. Just give it a little padding, you know, for if you have a hot mug on there, or if you've got a cold cup and it's dripping, it'll just kind of absorb into this. But we're going to be cutting our squares 5 by 5. So I've got all these pieces. So what we're going to do after you've got 5 or 6 pieces, and I'm going to show you why it calls for 5, but I'm also going to show you as we turn this. If you look on the inside, I can see my polar fleece right there. So I'm going to, if I fold it, see, I can see right there. I'm just going to have something that just kind of fills that in case I can see on the inside, because maybe I didn't fold it exactly right. So 5 or 6. So this one was 5, and I will show you where to add that 6th piece. So cut your pieces 5 by 5 inches square. And then this is going to be, you're going to pick one of them that you want to be the back side, the solid piece. So I'm going to use this one as my back piece. So I'm going to take that one and then I'm going to lay that on top of my quilt batting and or polar fleece. I'm using polar fleece, so I'm just going to lay it right there. The other pieces I'm going to take and I'm going to iron them in half with wrong sides together. So there's my 5 by 5 square, and I'm just going to iron them all in half like this so you have a rectangle. And what you want to do is you want to take your selvage edge, these raw edges, and you want to line them up with the raw edges of your square. So I'm going to lay one here, and you're just going to go around the square and layer them. So as you can see, I have folded, these are the raw edges, so I'm laying it here. And you're laying it on top. So take this one, and I'll lay that on top. Now, your last piece gets slightly tricky, because I messed this up on the first one and had to unstitch it because I didn't lay it down right. So we want to be able to see all 4 pieces. Right now I can only see 3. So I've got, it lays on top, so I'm going to fold this back and I'm going to lift up my very first one, peel it back, lay this down, and then lay it over. So now you can see I've got a piece of each one showing. So as long as you can see all 4 patterns, you should be good. So they've just been stacked on top of each other, and the last one, like I said, I peeled this one back and then laid it down and laid it over that, okay? Now, my last piece, and I'm hoping I'm doing this right because this is going to be a little test. I'm just going to lay it down, and I'm going to lay my entire square on top of it, just make a sandwich. Okay? So as you can see, this is my back side, and all of these are on here. Now, I do not like to use a lot of pins, but if you feel more comfortable pinning, I would just put a pin in each of the 4 sections like this, you know, put one and just hold it. You really don't need it. And I'm just going to use the edge of my presser foot. Swing it over here a little bit. And we're going to sew all the way around. If you have a setting on your sewing machine to keep your needle down, go ahead and put that in place so that when you stop, your needle is in the down position. When you get to the corner, keep that needle down, raise your presser foot, and just swing it around. I'm gonna make sure this shifted on me just a tiny bit. Okay, I've stitched all the way around. So everything is stitched all through the layers. Now, the most important part is you want to clip your corners, because with that polar fleece or batting, it makes it very bulky, and we're going to turn this. So just diagonally across, be sure to be careful not to clip that corner. But just clip right across it. I'm going to trim this out just a little bit because it does get pretty bulky in those corners. Okay. So now we have this. So now what we're going to do, we're going to turn this and see, I'm pulling this apart. You can see my fabric on the inside. Now, if you only used 5 pieces, you would not have this material on the back. This would be your batting and or your polar fleece, okay? So I'm going to just peel this apart, and I'm getting under all the layers, and I'm going to turn it. You're going to need your scissors or a point turner to push those corners out because it is thick. Actually, I'm gonna do a little grading of this seam and maybe trim out a little bit of that polar fleece by the corners. That'll help get those corners out a little better. I'm just trimming real close to that. Okay, so now I'm just going to slide my scissors inside and give it a little push, I'm going to kind of just work it over the point. Just be careful not to poke a hole in it. This is one of those things, they tell you not to use your scissors and to use like a point turner, but I use my scissors all the time, I'm not gonna lie. I have jabbed open a hole, you just gotta sew it back, but just be careful. After you get used to it, you'll see. But I'm just pushing out these corners right here. See, I'm pushing that, my scissors are down in that corner. And that's it. You have a fun little mug rug coaster. Now, I will show you, see my fabric right here. You can see that on the inside. That just helps it so like if you have any gapping at all, you really shouldn't, but my first one I didn't do so great, but I just wanted to make sure it was covered. So I do have an extra layer in there. So technically you just need your 5 squares that are 5 by 5 inches. Now you could definitely make this bigger and make more of a hot pad. I would probably try maybe an 11-inch square so that once you turned it, it was more like a 10 by 10. That would be a really nice hot pad. If you are going to use a hot pad, there is, what is it called? Thinsulate, I think, that is actually for heat, like if you're making oven pads. This will be nice, you know, as long as you have some padding, and depending on how hot of a pan or plate or something you're setting for a hot pad, it should be fine, but there is something, you know, that you can get at Joann's or Hobby Lobby specifically for getting things out of the oven. So you might look into that. But for this is a great scrap buster project. I've used 5 inches of 5x5 square cotton and a piece of polar fleece. You can use quilt batting as well, it doesn't matter. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I think these are really fun. These would be something great for little Christmas presents, and maybe even sell them at craft shows. Great scrap buster projects. So if you have any comments, would love to hear from you. Maybe if you make some, send me a picture. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can see our future videos. And if you want to get notified for our next video, just hit the little bell icon and you'll get a notification when we post our next video. Thanks for joining me, everybody, and I'll see you in the next video.